Like a dog to his vomit, I find myself returning over and over again to that story that I saw in the New York Times a few days ago. Don't go down the rabbit hole. Don't exercise critical thinking, because critical thinking doesn't help in the war against misinformation. Yes, I am almost verbatim quoting the title of the article and the subtitle of the article. And I thought it was just a one and done. I thought I would just comment on the article and say, hey, look at this. What does that tell you about where we're at right now? And then I came back to it again because I realized there was something else that I didn't cover the first time that it showed about where we're at right now. And now I find myself returning to it a third time. And this time what I'm going to cover from the article, what I want to talk about with regard to that article, is the fact that a publication like the New York Times felt the need to put this article in their opinion section. Now, the New York Times readership is, I dare say, pretty politically monolithic. I know there are some conservatives with some kind of, I don't know, appetite for abuse who maybe read it, or who's maybe there's some who still feel that, oh, it's the New York Times, it's got this prestige, it's the old gray lady. I mean, there are probably still idiots who think those kinds of things about that rag. But I I just was struck today when thinking about that article, because it really is. I mean, I can't quite get over the fact that an official news source is telling the reader not to be a critical thinker. I was about to say I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I mean, I'm sorry if you find it redundant, or if you are thinking to yourself, geez, Nowicki, just move on already. I don't mean to be tiresome about it. I just don't think that's something you can sneeze at. All that we read, all that we pick up and read or watch, if we're looking into something, if we're doing research is supposed to be a good thing. That's what I mean, all of my life I seem to remember that, not that all research is equal, not that there can't be, people with bad information, but you look into things, you use critical thinking in order to discern what's right, or what's accurate, what seems to be fair-minded from what seems to be wrong-headed. That's where critical faculties come in. And this article is saying, no. Don't even go that far. Don't even go to the point where you're going to be using your critical faculties to determine, what might be right versus what might not be right. Because then, next thing you know, you're going down the rabbit hole. That is a tacit admission that the so-called conspiracy theorists are right. As far as I'm concerned, that's just a tacit admission of such. Because if they were so sure that the conspiracy theorists were just balmy and dumb and ignorant and a bunch of yokels who didn't know anything and weren't really educated, then the solution to that would be education, right? The solution to that would be, here, look at this, look at these facts, look at this, read this book, right? Find out, do this research over here with this person, and look into all of the stuff that tells you the conspiracy theorists, but then find out the stuff that actually replies to the conspiracy theorists and not just debunks them. Debunking is a cheap word, but something that shows, there's a better explanation than what the conspiracy theorists have to offer. But that's not what they're doing anymore. They're just saying, don't look into it. And I covered that the last time, but what I want to cover just what I want to just mention here is the fact that this was written in the New York Times for New York Times readers. You would think that they wouldn't be that worried about people who read the New York Times being on the right side, meaning the left side, meaning the wrong side. You would think that wouldn't be an issue for them. But somehow they're worried that even their loyal readers, who can be counted on to just, in our day and age, used to be, more, I think there was more thoughtfulness in the general readership of a publication like the New York Times. But today they can pretty much be counted on to just knee-jerk the way that they're told to knee-jerk by the media sources who tell them how they ought to feel about things. But now even they are afraid that their own readership, their own squad, if you will, are going to go off the reservation. That their own squad, their own people, their own, these people who vote Democrat 95% of the time and vote Green 3% of the time. I'm just pulling these statistics out of the air, but I'm sure, it's very, very, very left-wing liberal readership. And even they are afraid that this rabbit hole, this seductive rabbit hole of these conspiracy theorists is pulling them in. It's picking off even the New York Times readership. That's amazing. That's an amazing thing to consider. I don't know if that means definitively that we're winning. I try to avoid knee-jerk optimism the same way I would avoid the black pill. I think it's a trap either way, just to think things are swell versus things are awful. You gotta see the nuance. But I would say that's if it's some kind of hopeful sign if even the New York Times is warning and admonishing its readership, because you would think that they would just be able to say, oh, those conspiracy theorists are over there, those right-wing tinfoil hat wearers who are so right-wing as to believe that there is pedophilia in high places. That's such a right-wing thing to believe, right? I mean, whatever. But you would think that they would safely say, okay, they would talk about the conspiracy theorists as the other. They would talk about the conspiracy theorists as this group over there, who's on the internet, who are watching BitChute videos, and who are on Gab and Parler, and the other tribe, But instead, they're talking to their own tribe. They're talking to their own tribe and admonishing them not to go down the rabbit hole. That, I believe, reveals something about how alluring the truth is, even to those who have stuffed their brains with unthinking propaganda for most of their lives. The truth has its own allure. It always has. It always will. And no more so than when it's heavily under siege. Take that for whatever you think it's worth. Let me know what you think if you want. My name is Andy Nowicki. Please check out my work at altrightnovelist.com. And by the way, I was recently on the broadcast MGTOW Chats, so check me out there if you are interested. We talked about a wide-ranging number of things. It was an interesting conversation I was happy to be a part of. So check that out. Check out the MGTOW Chats channel, either here on BoobTube or on one of its competitors, preferably. Thanks for watching. Talk to y'all soon.